1, 2, a 1, 2, 3, 4.
Last night I couldn't sleep. You know it sure is hard to leave you, Carey, but it's really not my home.
This is a truly magnificent song from one of my very favourite albums, Blue, and not a particularly easy song to wrangle onto a single acoustic guitar. There's quite a lot going on in a jingly jangly texture, lots of colour. In fact, on the original, Joni is playing her Appalachian dulcimer, and she's fairly whacking the chords out of that in a percussive fashion. Additionally, Stephen Stills, apart from playing the bass, he plays a 6-string acoustic in a funky Stephen Stills tuning, which is just a bunch of C sharps and G sharps, or maybe C's and G's with a capo on the first fret. I'm not going to be doing that, so if you've come here looking for a faithful note-by-note transcription of the original guitar part, I'm sorry to disappoint. Joni is also playing an overdubbed acoustic guitar. I'm not going to play that either. I'm just going to try and give you my version of how to create something like a similar texture to the original. And actually, apart from the actually only got 3 chords in the whole song. So for now, for the most of this tutorial, I'm going to switch over to a 6-string acoustic. That's going to make it easier to see and hear some of the variations that I'm playing, and I am going to play this in a different tuning. We're going to play this in what's called double drop D. I'll go through the notes in a second, but you'll need to lower your 6th string and your 1st string a tone, 2 frets worth, down to a D, and additionally, of course, you'll need a capo on the 1st fret. All right, let's get to it. Yeah, so nothing very complicated about the tuning. You just need to take the 6th string and tune it down to a D. So 1 whole tone, and the same thing then for the top string to D. So we've got D, A, D, G, B, and D, and now we need to put the capo on the 1st fret. Now, just before I forget, if you've very carefully tuned and checked once the capo's on and you're playing along with the original recording and it still sounds all a bit out of tune, that's because the original recording is a bit sharp. I think I brought it down 27 cents to be in concert pitch, so that's worth knowing if you're playing along and it doesn't quite sound right. I mean, it's not massively important, but at least you know why. Anyway, our 3 chords. Nominally we're playing as if in C, in fact we're in D flat. So there's C, F and G, but I'm going to start with the G chord because there's a lot of G and that's kind of the central sound of this. And if we play a very basic G shape here, you can instantly see the advantage of this tuning. The top 4 strings are a G. Additionally, I've got a G down here. I'm just masking that 5th string, muting it with the fleshy underside of my 3rd finger there. So that's a perfectly good G chord. But in the original, Stephen Stills' tuning doesn't really allow for lots of thirds to be played. We don't need that. Really, we want something that's more just G's and D's. So look, I'm going to put a finger on the 3rd fret of the 2nd string there. Not only does that get rid of the B, the 3rd, making now a G5 chord, just the roots and 5ths, but also that note is a duplicate of the one we've already got on the open top string. And that's probably the chord that I'm going to play mostly when I'm called to play a G. I reckon I'm going to do that. You could also do this though. Little finger on the 5th fret of the 4th string, and that duplicates the open 3rd string. So now G, 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 D, D. That really is starting to sound quite sparse and raw, and that will cut through your mix quite nicely. But as I say, I'm probably just going to do that much of it, just the note on the 5th fret of the bottom string and the 3rd fret of the 2nd string. Otherwise I've got open strings apart from that muted 5th string. That's my G5. And on the screen and in my sheet music, which hopefully you're going to buy, you won't see that as G5. That's just going to be written as G because that's the sound we're after. Occasionally there's a bit of sus4. So if I put the little finger down there on the 5th fret of the 3rd string, you'll hear that when we go through the chords of the verse. You'll see where that comes in. But those are the G chords. Now for the C, I'm going to do this. And of course the middle 4 strings are just the same as in standard tuning, so that's an instantly recognizable chord shape, but I've got an open top string that gives me a D. Additionally, so I'm going to call that C add 9 because that's what that is. that really does give me a flavour of the original. I could play, if I could do it, C there, and I've got a note fretted on the top string, but actually I find that quite difficult to finger, and I'm not bothered. I'm not particularly fussed about creating a pure C shape. We've got another solution if we want one. So my basic C chord is going to be that. From Africa. That's the sound I'm after. I quite like that D at the top. That just gives us a bit of that jingly jangly sound. If you wanted to play just a C chord with nothing but C's and E's and G's, just the top 4 strings there, that's going to give us a XX2012. That's going to give us a very pretty C chord, and we use that in the intro riff that we see repeating at the ends of the choruses as well. The 4th version I've got is this. This is like an A-type bar chord in standard tuning, but if I bring my 3rd finger across to the top 4 strings like that, so X3 5 5 5 5, that's a straight C chord, and actually that's how I'm going to end the song. You might see that chord just this once. And then the other chord we need to look at is F. I'm going to do this. Maybe I'll do that, but this is effectively the same shape as we've got for G, and moving it down 2 frets. There's F plus some extra stuff. If we don't finger the 4th string, we've got a D. We've got a D on the top string, and that open 3rd string gives me a G, so that's F6 9. I'll probably put a finger there on the 3rd fret of the 4th string, and that sounds quite a lot like the original. You could add a finger then on the 2nd fret of the 3rd string there. That's going to give you a straight F, and if you strum the top string, that'll give you that 6 there. There's another way of playing this, and this is not particularly easy, but if I move my little finger up to the 3rd fret of the top string, I've now got that, and if I bar across the bottom 2 strings only with my 3rd finger, and I can mute that 4th finger, takes a bit of practice, that's quite a nice sensible F shape, nothing but F and A and C. That works. I'm probably not going to do that. I'm probably going to stick to that rather for my F chord. But there is this. If you bar across at the 3rd fret and then add fingers on the 5th fret of the 3rd string and 6th fret, if I've got that right, of the 2nd string, I've got this 3 3 3 5 6 3, and again that's nothing but F's and C's, so that's an F5 chord. You might try that if you're not happy, particularly happy with that F chord there. F6 9 anyway. So there's that. You could of course move it up there if you wanted the same kind of sound for your G chord. That's going to be 5 5 5 7 8 5, and of course all the way up there for a C chord, but for me that's a bit daft. Anyway, that's a sound you might like in this tuning. There you go, a few basic shapes in double drop D. Let's see how we put those chords together in the verse. And the verse is an 8-bar sequence that repeats. We start off with 2 bars of our C chord. The wind is in from Africa to G. Last night I couldn't sleep. We go down to a single bar of F. You know it sure is hard, back to C, to leave you, Carey, but it's really not my home. 2 bars of G, that closes out that 8-bar section, and actually in bar 8, maybe 2 beats of the G sus4 to G. Let's have all of that then. The wind is in from Africa. Last night I couldn't sleep. Oh, you know it sure is hard to leave you, Carey, but it's really not my home. And again, my fingernails are filthy, and I've got beach tar on my feet, and I miss my plain white linen and my fancy French cologne. Oh, Carey, get out your cane. And we're into the chorus, which we'll get to in a moment. There are 4 verses, and they're all exactly the same. In terms of strumming, I'm going to do this. I'm going to strum down and up constantly in half beats. But critically, I'm going to add on the 2nd and 4th beats what we call a backbeat, just to give it a more of a pop feel, a bit more of kind of rhythmic profile. I'm going to do this. On the second beat, I'm going to bring my hand down quite hard. It doesn't have to be percussive, it doesn't actually have to knock the front of the guitar, but I just want enough, maybe just the metallic contact of the strings onto the frets is enough. Very versatile pattern, and I think it works pretty well for this song. The only thing to say here is that when you bring your hand down, it's instead of a down strum. So where it ends up is where a down strum would have ended up. So check your down strum. My down strum ends there. So that's what I want my hand to do. That. That way, the next thing that happens on 2 and 4 and 1 and 2 and is an up strum. If I do this, well, I'm stuffed, aren't I, frankly? I've got no up strum to play because my hand's in the wrong place, but that's it. And of course, after you've brought your hand down on 2 and again on 4 and, you can really exaggerate that up strum to create an accent, gives us a bit of syncopation. So much so that when you bring the hand up again then after the slap, you might not actually play the following down strum. Leave that up strum to ring. That kind of a thing.
I couldn't sleep. Oh, you know it sure is hard to leave, Carey, but it's really not my home. Fingernails are filthy and I've got each star on my feet, and I miss my plain white linen and my fancy French cologne. Oh, Carey, get out your cane.
All right, let's have a look at that chorus. The chorus is another 8-bar section that leads straight in from the verse. We ended up playing G at the end of the verse and we carry on for a bar.
Oh, Carey, get out your cane. I'll put on some silver.
Okay, so we've got a bar of G that's kind of left over from the verse, 2 bars of our C.
I'll put on some silver, a bar of G.
Then we move to our F.
Oh, you're a mean old daddy.
2 beats of C, 2 of G.
But I am back to C for 2.
Let's have all that. And we need to tack on another 2-bar little riff on the end of this. We'll do that in a moment.
Oh, Carey, get out your cane. And I'll put on some silver. Oh, you're a mean old daddy, but I like you.
And then additionally, we've got this extra 2-bar tag on the end that's an adaptation of what we heard in the intro, and actually there's another version of that that ends the song. It's probably as good a time as any to look at that now. So this is what I've got for the intro. In the original, we get a 2-bar phrase played on the dulcimer and then the guitar joins in bars 3 and 4 and the whole thing builds then quite quickly. If we play the dulcimer part on the guitar, I'm going to start with this. This is D minor. And on the last half beat, the final up strum of that bar, I'm going to strum the 4-string C like that. And then on 2 and, I'm going to open up those top 4 strings, strum up and then down again. That's my G chord. Okay, lots of up strums here. Down, up, 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 down. And that's the first 2 bars up to speed. 1, 2, or 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and when the guitar comes in, obviously it's a different tuning, but what I've got is this. I'm going all the way up here If you include the open fourth string, it doesn't really matter. I suspect the tab doesn't have that. Anyway, 7, 6, 7. Then barring across the 5th fret of the top 3 strings for the C. Coming down with a single finger. If I'm barring with my 3rd finger here for the C chord, I've got my 1st finger on the 3rd fret of the top string for that G7, because that's what that is. It's a G with an F at the top. Then I've got a single strum of the G chord, open 4 top strings, and then I'm onto my C chord. One more time. And if we put all that together to a 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and then we get into the song. In the chorus,
oh, Carey, get out your cane. I'll put on some silver. Oh, you're a mean old daddy, but I like you. I like you.
okay, we get exactly the same thing, the 3rd and 4th bars of that before we go into the following verse. And as I say, all the verses and choruses are the same. Verses 1, 2 and 3, choruses 1, 2 and 3, I mean, end with something very much like that. So now all we need to do is look at how the song ends, and it's just a modified chorus with a modified tag. Normally we've got an 8-bar chorus and a 2-bar tag at the end with the... This time the tag, let's look at this first, this is modified and it looks like this. So the first of those 2 bars is the same, but now I'm just going to hit that C chord that I told you we were going to see once. Well, this is the once we're going to see it. Bang on the beginning of the 2nd bar. Okay. The other difference is that the 8-bar section that's the chorus proper gets extended by another 4 bars. We get a bar of F, half a bar each of C and G, and then 2 bars of C. So it's just the 2nd half of the chorus. Let's see if I can play all of that with the ending.
Oh, Carey, get out your cane. I'll put on my finest silver. We'll go to the Mermaid Cafe, have fun tonight. I said, oh, you're a mean old daddy, but you're out of sight.
And that's it. All right, well, I hope you enjoyed that. I hope it made some sort of sense. Do buy my sheet music. It really does help me out. And you'll have everything beautifully, clearly laid out in front of you. But for now, thanks for watching. Hopefully see you on the next one. I'm going to switch back over to my 12 string and have a playthrough of the whole thing. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Listen from Africa last night. I couldn't sleep. You know it sure is hard to leave you, Carey, but it's really not my home. Fingernails are filthy and I've got beach tar on my feet, and I miss my plain white linen and my fancy French cologne. Oh, Carey, get out your cane. I'll put on some silver. To the Mermaid Cafe, and I will buy you a bottle of wine, and we'll laugh and toast enough and smash our empty glasses down. Let's have a round for these freaks and these soldiers around, for these friends of mine. Let's have another round for the bright red devil who keeps me in this tourist town. Oh, Carey, get out your cane. I'll put on some silver. I'll go to Rome and rent me a grand piano. dome, and they're playing that scratchy rock and roll beneath the Madeleine. Oh, Carey, get out your cane, I'll put on some silver. Oh, you already know, Daddy, that I like you. From Africa last night, I couldn't sleep. Oh, you know it sure is hard to leave, but really not my home. Maybe it's been too long a time since I was traveling down in the street, and now they got me used to that clean white linen and that fancy French cologne. Oh, Carey, get out your cane, I'll put on my finest silver. We'll go to the Malay Cafe, have fun tonight. I said, oh, you're a mean old daddy, but you're out of sight. Yeah. And that's it.